Hey buddy, welcome back to the channel and to World of Warships. So today I'm gonna showcase a ship that I actually bought this evening, and it's the Tier 9 Premium US battleship, the Georgia. And oh my god, what a ship! I mean, Georgia has pretty much flew under my radar for a very long time. I didn't really understand what kind of ship it was. Didn't see that much videos about it. But then I was loitering around in the armory in the game, and I was looking at the different ships that you could buy for resources. And I saw the Georgia and read about it a little bit. I went out on YouTube and watched a couple of games. I think it was like Flamu and Flambas and Notzer showcasing this ship. So I thought, what the heck? I mean, I had a coupon and I could make up the difference with some steel. So I just jumped the gun and bought this ship. And this is my first game in this ship. And we are top tier, so that's always good, a good start. And it's a hotspot and it's a standard battle. So I'm just looking at the team list here, looking at the different divisions. I see that there is a radar cruiser Baltimore teamed up with a Yugumo, which is a good choice for 3-cap domination games. Not so much for standard battles maybe, but so I digress. I read about this ship and I read Little White Mouse review of this ship, and it seems to be pretty strong. But at first sight, you can be a bit fooled, because first off, it's kind of a squishy battleship. It doesn't have that much armor, and it does eat a whole lot of damage and citadels. So that's one thing in the con column. And you only have 3 turrets with 2 guns in each, so a total of 6 guns at tier 9. Yeah, you have a pretty decent caliber though. These are just slightly smaller guns than the Yamato. I see this British battleship pushing up, so I'm just shooting off a salvo and yeah, my first salvo in this ship, and I get a citadel on a battleship at 18-19 kilometers. So that already gave me a pretty good feeling about this ship. But as I said, you have 6 guns, which is pretty small number at tier 9. But these are really hard hitting guns. They have kind of lofty shell arcs, so you do have to take some extra lead. It's not like the Kremlin guns. And you have a awesome dispersion. You will see this in many of my salvos. You actually have cruiser dispersion on these guns. So even though you only have 6 guns, this ship is a real monster. And that paired with the speed boost you get in this ship, and it's also the kind of a upgraded speed boost that I think it's is it Richelieu or something? It's like the French speed boost. And so that paired with the upgraded speed boost module will give you a awesome duration and speed for this ship. And it's also a great secondary ship. And I will showcase my modules and my setup and my captain build in the end of the video, so please stay tuned for that. I also think I need to mention that at the end of this game, my game client actually crashed. This happens to me quite a lot, and unfortunately it always happens when I have pretty great games. Yeah, that was the enemy Yugomo dealt with. A fast salvo took away, I think it was 8k damage, and then I finished him off with my secondary gun, earning me a devastating strike and a close quarters medal. Yeah. So so what I was saying was I don't have the post-battle screen results from this game. Unfortunately, it would have been really great to look at, since this is a pretty great game. But as I said, my game client crashed, so I couldn't really get them, because after you restart the game client you can't really access the post-battle screen results. But you will see in the end of the video the kind of effect my ship had in this battle, and after that I will showcase my build for this ship. And I can tell you that I am actually having a not maximizing on the secondary build. I don't have IFHE on my secondaries, but I do have AFT to get my secondary range out to 11.3 kilometers. And I don't have fire prevention, but we can look at the build later on. So I finally got to punish this TTT clan player that has been pretty much ticking away at me with his tier 9 Italian cruiser, the Brindisi. I didn't really want to push in going YOLO down this channel, because as you can see my team is kind of huddling up behind me. They don't really want to push or spot anything. So I thought since this is a quite squishy battleship, I shouldn't YOLO in alone while they just sat behind me. That is why I'm playing this a bit more passive, and I think this is actually maybe the way you should play this. I will push in and play more aggressive later on in the game, and I think that is more suitable for this ship, because if you do that from the beginning you will not last long, because you will see how much damage I take during this game. Of course, when I actually decide to push out and turn around, then is where the Brindisi torpedoes catch me off guard. So now I'm just turning around, trying to focus some of these battleships with my secondary guns. And the angles of the main turrets is actually quite decent on this ship, which of course it should be, since you only have 3 turrets. But you can have a pretty steep angle on your ship and still, as you can see here, get all 3 turrets to bear on your target. Now we have pretty much 4 ships pushing up towards our position here, so I will start to kite away, try to target the different battleships, meanwhile letting my secondaries just go to town. And this is also a good way to kind of lurk the enemy team into a crossfire situation. As you can see, I have some friendlies to the right, which can start punishing these broadsides when these ships push up. But as you can see, my secondaries is scoring hits at a pretty steep rate. So I just turn and shoot off my guns as often as I can, and then between reloads I just let my secondaries work on these guys.
The ship is on fire.
And I don't really get the feeling during this game that that was second kill and my second close quarters battle medal. So yeah, they are quite potent, these secondary guns. And the third kill I actually finish off with my main guns, but it could have just as likely been my secondaries. But as you can see, I have lost half my health, and you don't have that high health pool to start out with in the Georgia. It is one of the lowest, I think maybe not the lowest, but on the lower end of all the tier 9 battleships. And you don't really get a special heal as well. You do get a very fast reloading heal. So I think it's half the cooldown period from the normal US battleship heals. So that is actually quite good. Here I just swing around, see this enemy Benson, take quite a good lead, and blop.
Enemy destroyer foundered.
And that is my fourth kill. And now I see this TTT clan player pushing into the sea cap with his Brandisi, and this is not a good position for him to be in when I get his broadsides. So that's the fifth kill and my Kraken unleashed. And as you can see, we are mopping up quite fast, the enemy team. So I'm just starting to push into the middle where the last two cruisers are. So I'm kind of taking a duel with both of them. But as you can see, I do take quite a bit of damage even from these cruisers. So you shouldn't really try to tank that much in this ship, but rather play it quite smart and maybe just go a bit more aggressive in the end of the game. Baltimore is showing broadside, and yeah, see that dispersion. That's what I'm talking about. And that's kill number 6, and I got my Confederate, and that actually triggered Commander Halsey's. I have the Halsey special captain on this ship. So now my reload on my main battery guns are getting an extra boost. Unfortunately, this is the end of the game, so it didn't do that much difference, but it's always nice to know that you're able to trigger those special talents when you put one of the legendary captains on one of your ships. And this ship will definitely become one of my absolute new favorite ships to play. And that's a high caliber award. So yeah, I love this ship. I'm not disappointed at all, this being the first game. So, as I said, my game client crashed, so we can just look at this final screenshot from the game. And as you can see, we have 6 kills, 4 citadels, 146 secondary hits, 4 fires, 2 close quarters medals, 1 devastating strike, Kraken unleashed, Confederate, and high caliber. So yeah, it's not really that bad ship, considering it only has 6 guns. And I actually really do like the secondary build on this ship. You do have to play it a bit more cautiously, a bit more safe in the start of the game, because since you're not running the tank build, fire spammers like Harugumo, Smolensk, etc. will put the hurt into you. But if you play it a bit smart in the start of the game, just blapping some battleships and cruisers, I think you will do quite fine, actually. So let's jump to my modules and captain build. So looking at the consumables, it's not really that difficult. You have the standard ones, the repair party and the damage control party. In the 5th slot you can choose spotting aircraft or fighter, but I think fighter is pretty useless nowadays, so I just go with spotting aircraft, and here you could probably go with the standard one, not pay for the premium one, because you don't really use the spotting plane that much, because you push in pretty close to the enemy. And last but not least, your engine boost. And of course, with the great speed of this ship, if we look at upgrades, you see in the 2nd slot I have the special upgraded engine boost modification 1, which give me 50% extra duration, and that is very viable choice for this ship, because speed is one of the great things about this ship. 1st slot, main armament, not really much to talk about here. 3rd slot, I went with the secondary battery, because I do run a secondary build on my Georgia. I'm guessing you could go for main battery firing range or traverse speed of main turrets, but I think actually the secondary, just to get that extra range, is a great choice. 4th slot, I think the damage control system is absolute best. 5th slot, same here, concealment system. None of the other aren't really viable choices in my opinion. The 6th slot is actually quite interesting. I think Little White Mouse recommended the artillery plottery room for better dispersion, but I think that the dispersion is actually quite good. I mean, you have pretty much cruiser dispersion, so I actually went for the reduced reload time of the main battery instead. I don't really think you should go for this one in the 6th slot, because your main battery is really strong. And looking at the captain, and I'm rocking the William F. Halsey, because as you see in this game that I just played, I actually triggered one of his special talents, which was the Confederate achievement, which gave me 20% faster reloading guns. Unfortunately, I got it quite late in the game, so I couldn't really use it that much, but I think Halsey is actually quite viable on this ship, because also double strike is actually... you have a pretty good chance. I mean, I got 6 kills in this game, and this was my first game in this ship. And since you have pretty great secondaries, getting a double achievement is not really that far-fetched. So I think it's a good choice. But looking at the skills, I went for a priority target first. My second one was the upgraded expert marksman. Then I went for superintendent for that extra heal and extra speed boost. And then I went for advanced fire training for that extra range on the secondary. After that, I went for adrenaline rush. Then I went for manual secondaries. And last but not least, basics of survivability. And if you look at the little white mouse guide to captain builds on the Georgia, they had kind of many different kind of ways you could go. And this was, I think, a kind of a combination between the very manly build, which is kind of the most aggressive build. But I think that one as well had actually IFHE for the secondaries. And the more safe build is, of course, with the concealment expert and fire prevention. So this build I'm trying out right now is kind of in between, but I think it fits my playstyle pretty well, because I have a bit tankiness and I have great secondaries. So I think I get a little bit of everything, actually. So that was the modules and my build for the captain and the ship. So I want to thank you guys so much for checking out this video. Please leave a like and a comment below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more amazing gameplays. Have a great weekend, guys. Until next time, have a good one. Bye bye.